Good morning, Dad. This morning I wanted to show you how I make breakfast. I kind of have like a new breakfast staple that I've been kind of working on, which is homemade cappuccino and oatmeal. And I kind of mix the two together in an interesting way. So I'm going to do my best to kind of Food Network you. And I don't know how it's going to turn out because I've never done a cooking video per se. So we'll see if I can document my process of making my new staple breakfast. Okay, so first things first, I have oatmeal from Mr. Quaker Oats himself. And typically I just do half a cup with my Betty Crocker half a cup measurement, and just kind of smush that around so it's nice and even. And then you need to take, so it's basically like a 1-to-2 ratio. So half cup of oats, and then I do a full cup of water. And that gets it nice and, I don't know, fluffy. Not too watery, not too dry. At least that's what I found. And now it's ready to go. Now I don't do anything special. I could boil it, but I don't know, I typically find in the mornings when you're just hungry and you're ready to go, I just put it in the microwave. So we will put this in the microwave and it will come out pretty much perfect. And it goes in there for 2.5 minutes. All right, so up next, I do the cappuccino. So I already have some pre-ground cappuccino roasted beans in here. So this is my little coffee tote. I don't know if you could read that. And just to keep it extra fresh and sealed, I put all my ground coffee in a Ziploc bag within here. Because over time, like if it's exposed to air, then it oxidizes and it just loses some of its flavor. Now, like a lot of people, they'll, like grind their beans fresh in the morning, so that way they are fresh every day. But nobody's got time for that, and I don't want to bug the neighbors. Living in an apartment, you don't want to bug your neighbors every morning with the sound of coffee beans grinding for a minute or two or whatever. Okay. Oh, so let me kind of explain this. So this is the little basket, and it's a two-parter. So here, I'm gonna dump this out actually, so we can kind of look at it. And in there, I don't know if you can see, so it's got like little teeny perforated holes that let the coffee through. So it kind of works as a metal version of like the coffee filter, except for it doesn't really filter the coffee as much as it just stops the coffee grinds from getting through. And then this part is what it filters into, and then the coffee comes out of that hole. And this is a little Mr. Coffee espresso machine, so it's nothing particularly fancy, but it gets the job done, and I've gotten pretty good at using it. Over time, my brews have gotten better, I guess you could say. So we'll fill this up. Now, I typically just you could do like different levels, right? So I think when you go to Starbucks, I think you typically get the doppio shot, which is 2 shots. And I do about 3 to 4. And so I fill it up and then I crush it down, and that puts it to about, 3. As where I think it being full is a 4 shot. And then you use this little guy, which I don't know what it's called, little stamp type thing, and it fits perfectly in. And it's actually got 2 sides because I guess there's like different size baskets. Anyway, yeah, so you take this little stamp and fits right in there. And you don't have to press too hard, just enough to kind of get it in there, and then I just kind of spin it around to get it nice and even. And then brush off any extra coffee beans, or coffee grinds, I guess. And then it looks something like that. I don't know if that'll focus, but nice and flat, and just tight enough that it makes the roast a little bit stronger than your normal drip coffee type thing. And then it just fits up in there and go to its lock position. And then let all the air out of my little Ziploc bag and give it a nice zip up. Put the lid on and put it back. Okay, so that's the coffee is now loaded. And on top here, we got to fill it up with water. And I have this little steamer cup thing that I use to measure the water. It's about 7 ounces, 6 or 7 ounces is good enough for the style that I like to make. And I kind of do like a wet cappuccino, I guess you could call it. Cappuccinos are typically a bit drier. That meaning there's more coffee to liquid than liquid to coffee, I guess. And I make mine a little bit wet, so maybe like a drier one would be like 4 ounces of water rather than 6 or whatever. And then we'll use this also to put some half and half in and make some fluffed up cream to put in. So tighten that up, and then now that'll boil the water and also create steam that we can use to steam the cream. So let's put this off to the side. Oh, and I also have this little wand guy that will kind of make the cream a little bit more whipped. And then all you have to do is turn it to brew. So there's actually 2 settings on this little knob here. There's a brew side and a steam side. And the steam will come out of this guy and the brew comes out of here, obviously. And this it's pretty quick to make a cup of coffee. It only takes about maybe a minute or 2 for it to start pouring out here. Okay, so the coffee is basically all brewed up. Now there's still a lot of steam in there, and then we're gonna use that to froth some of this half and half. And this, you only need a little bit because it froths it up quite a lot. And it looks like I had just enough to make one last batch. Cool. So I'm gonna put this off to the side. We'll use that later. And then I like to just move this whole thing a little bit closer to my sink so I don't make a mess. And then we'll turn this to steam and steam up some of that milk. Half and half, cream, whatever. You can hear it kind of bubbling in there. Now, I'm not a master at this. I've been really working hard because when it comes to this, if you listen to people that actually do this for a living and stuff, they talk about getting the right texture. And there's different textures you can get. Like, I don't know if any of them are right or wrong. It's just, I guess, up to you. But there's certain textures for like, you know, doing like latte art and whatnot. And I just go until it's like nice and hot and bubbled up nicely. I don't know if you can see that. Now there's typically, after I finish, a lot of big bubbles. And then I'll take this wand and just kind of like mow some of them down like grass. Because I don't like the big bubbles in my coffee. I like just like the finer texture, right? And then once those are all down, I'll kind of go ahead and just whip it up. Almost like you would like, I don't know if you can see that or not. Kind of hard to get in there. Deep cup and not a lot of cream. But yeah, you just kind of whip it up like you would mashed potatoes or anything else, I guess, that you'd whip. And just get it to the texture that you want it. You know, you you want something in between, you know, you don't want something like whipped cream. I mean, maybe you do. I'm sure some people like whipped cream on their coffee, but I like it just a little bit thicker than milk, but not quite, you know, whipped cream. So yeah, that's basically it. Now we just got to put the cream in the coffee. But before we do that, there's another step that involves this situation and my oatmeal. While we're waiting for the oatmeal is almost done. One thing you have to do before you do anything with this, because there's a lot of pressure in here and you could kind of have a little bit of an explosion. So you gotta like release all of the steam inside, because I didn't use all of the steam to froth my milk. So gotta make sure you release all the pressure before you open the top of this, or else, boom. Luckily that hasn't happened to me yet, but there's been a couple of times in the past where I almost just opened it, and you know, you just think to yourself, oh, whew, disaster avoided, I guess. Okay, all of the steam has been released, and then I leave the steamer on just so that way it's, you know, releasing any excess that I'm not hearing come out of it. And then I'll always turn it to brew, because sometimes there's a little bit of pressure left in the basket area. And I've had it happen before where I take the basket off and then a tiny explosion makes coffee grinds go everywhere. And that's not a fun mess to clean up. And there's all the wet coffee grinds. Oh, and the oatmeal's done, if you didn't hear that. Cool. And no more coffee grinds, just dumped it out. And give it a little rinse, and I'll wash that completely later when it's not super hot and it's gonna give me 3rd-degree burns, I guess. Okay. Grab the oatmeal here. Okay, so our breakfast is almost done here. One last thing I like to do, just to kind of complete everything, is first of all, you gotta grab the salt. You gotta salt your oatmeal, which I like to do first before I put any liquid in there. So just a sprinkle, you don't need a whole lot of salt. Put that off to the side. And then I don't like to put a lot, but just enough to kind of flavor the oatmeal. Just take like a spoonful and kind of put this around. And I don't have any bananas, but I put on my Instagram the version with bananas and stuff. And that's good too. Kind of turns into a bananas and cream type thing. So just a little bit of coffee in there. Then you can have like a coffee oatmeal type situation. Now we have enough room to put our cream into our espresso, which will become our cappuccino. Get that nice cappuccino look. And then there comes all of the super frothy foam, whatever you want to call it. And then in here we have some extras, and then I put the extras onto the oatmeal. And since I was running a little bit low on half and half, it might be a little less than I normally have, but that's okay. We got plenty of flavors in there already. You know, coffee and salt, and the flavor of the oats too. You know, can't discount the flavor of the oats. When I have a little bit more of this, I'm actually going to take some out of here. Cappuccino's got a lot in there, so get it where you can, I guess. Cool. And then I kind of just like to break this up, fluff it up a little bit. You know, and then if I had bananas, I would slice the bananas and kind of put them along the rim. And then you kind of have like a bananas and cream with coffee type situation. All right, and that's the essence of my new breakfast. It's kind of the new Troy staple, I guess, as I've mentioned before in the beginning of the video. I don't know, just something about a really simple breakfast, you know, but with a little bit of artisanal craft to it, just to kind of make it not so boring, right? And I changed the formula a little bit between these two every day, right? So sometimes I don't add the coffee, sometimes there's just bananas, sometimes there's not salt, and depending on the ratio of how you layer this, right? How much coffee to water, how much coffee to cream, all that stuff can change the flavor, right? And that's why I like when you go to like a coffee shop, there's different types of drinks, and it's because the flavor can drastically change depending on the ratios of things, right? So not everything's a latte, not everything's a doppio, even though, you know, to the layperson, it's just like, well, what's the difference? You know, like this thing has 2 shots in it, that thing has 2 shots in it. And it's like, well, depends on how it's frothed, how the ratios go, and all of that changes the flavors of everything. And I'm kind of learning that. It's almost like coffee alchemy is kind of how I see it. So I don't know, it's kind of fun to dabble in these things. It's kind of like working magic. All right, Dad, well, that's my new breakfast. I hope you enjoyed me watching it. I don't know how it'll turn out. I mean, it's a pretty simple breakfast, so maybe the video will be pretty easy compared to making like a big steak dinner and all this other fancy stuff. So I don't know, let me know what you thought of my breakfast video. And I look forward to talking to you next week, and I will see you then. Love you, Dad. Hey, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos of me, click on the top right. If you want to see some videos of my dad, click on the top left. Click the like button if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay connected. And clicking the bell icon will help YouTube keep you notified of our activities. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon.